The 2019 offseason is off to a hot start, with over 40% of the league being free agents and almost every second team having a max salary spot. The seeming collapse of the Warriors has seen nearly every team scrambling to take their place and re-sign the best players in order to compete. We've also seen teams like Milwaukee just trying to re-sign their guys and bring back the same team that won the most games in the league last year. Day 1 of the 2019 free agency period saw a bunch of moves, as 9 of the top 10 free agents inked new deals, and a lot of the smaller names took advantage of teams' cap space and signed deals as quickly as possible. Today we're going to break down all the important moves from day 1 of free agency, all the way from Kevin Durant to Garrett Temple. Starting from the bottom up, we're going to fly through these guys, get through them quickly, because they're just bench players or maybe just role players who will have an impact on your team but really aren't going to tip the scale all that much. Starting with Garrett Temple, he signed a 2-year $10 million deal with the Nets, obviously just trying to tag along with who we will later talk about. Daniel House signed a 3-year $11.1 million deal with the Rockets, so that's obviously a big upgrade for him, coming from a G League player that was in and out of the league to being able to get a 3-year constant deal with them. Ed Davis signed a 2-year $10 million deal with the Jazz, obviously looking to play a backup. He's a great energy guy, always seems to get a double-double every time he gets more than 15-20 minutes, so that's a great signing for them. Reggie Bullock signed a 2-year $21 million deal with the Knicks. That's big for him, seeing how he's expected to just sign with the Lakers again for $4 million a year, so that's a huge upgrade for him. Mike Scott sticking with the 76ers, signing a 2-year $9.8 million deal. Rudy Gay signed a 2-year $32 million deal with the Spurs. Obviously he's gotten over his dislike for Popovich when he first got there. Must obviously like the guy now. He's played really well under Pop as well, especially coming back off an Achilles injury. Robin Lopez has teamed up with his brother Brook in Milwaukee, signing a 2-year $9.8 million deal. I personally don't really like this deal. He definitely had better suitors out in the market. I don't know about much more money, but he could have been a starting center for even a team like the Lakers, so I'm not a fan of this deal. Dwayne Dedmon agreed to a 3-year $40 million deal with the Kings. That's an absolute steal for them. He's a 7-foot center, can even go over to the power forward that can knock down the 3 and still protect the rim. That's exactly the way that the Kings like to play, up tempo, play the center along with Marvin Bagley at the 4. It's perfect for them. Now the first of the 3 big deals the Knicks got, DeAndre Jordan signed a 4-year $40 million deal. Another great steal for the Kings, Trevor Ariza on a 2-year $25 million deal. I don't know if that steal is in money wise, but he's going to be a great mentor around the young players. He should also contribute as well, being a great 3-and-D guy, seeing how the Kings are really good at shooting the 3 but not so much at playing D. So he should help them maybe push their way up into the playoffs. George Hill got bought out, I believe, and then re-signed with the Bucks again for a 3-year $29 million deal. Rodney Hood, off the back of his great playoff run for the Blazers, inked a new 2-year $16 million deal with them, opting to re-sign. He was really good for them. I'm not sure if it was the best decision because they also signed, I think, 3 other small forwards, so it might be a little bit of logjam there, but out of the players that they got, he's probably the best. Now here's the one I was originally happy about and then later found out for how much and lost my enthusiasm. Terry Rozier signed a 3-year $58 million deal. I don't know why the Hornets offered him that, but alright. Jeremy Lamb got a 3-year $31.5 million deal for the Pacers. That's a great steal for them. He can slide over to the 3 since they lost their 3, which we'll later talk about. Or he can even play the 2 while Oladipo's out. I'm not sure if he'll be back for the start of the season or not. Now here's another deal that I don't understand. The Magic signed Al-Farouq Aminu, 3 years, $29 million deal. Why? Don't they already have 4 power forwards? And they drafted another power forward? And they also re-signed their center, which we'll later talk about. So instead of getting a guard, they got another big. And for $29 million, I don't know why the Blazers couldn't have at least put a better offer out there. I reckon they could have done better than that. The Wizards finally made a good deal in free agency, signing Thomas Bryant to 3 years, $25 million. That's really good for him. Also really good for the team, seeing how they just throw away their money constantly. Patrick Beverley signed a 3-year $40 million deal with the Clippers, electing to turn down all the other offers he had from what seemed like half the league. He's a great player. He obviously didn't want to wait for the Lakers as they are trying to sign Kawhi, and decided to go straight in for that $40 million deal. Obviously it's because he's been severely underpaid throughout his career, so when he had that money in front of his face, of course he's going to take it. Ricky Rubio shocking everyone and signing a 3-year $51 million deal with the Suns. I think everyone had it written down and just booked in that he was signing with Indiana, but that wasn't the case. Terrence Ross elected to sign a 4-year $54 million deal with the Magic. Instead of offering KD a max, the Knicks decided to give Julius Randle 3 years $63 million. Now we're getting into this area where it's a step above the role players and bench players, but it's not quite your max slot free agents, your all-NBA players. It's just your quality starters. First off, we saw Thaddeus Young sign a 3-year $41 million deal with the Bulls. Not sure about this one, seeing how he's playing the power forward, and they've already got Lauri Markkanen, who's just been excellent as such a young player. Unless they plan on moving him over to the 3, which even then doesn't seem like the best suit for him. He seems like more of a small ball 4, and he definitely thrived in that position at Indiana. So I'm not sure what the Bulls are thinking here, but of course he's going to accept the money. Bobby Portis signed a 2-year $31 million deal with the Knicks. After opting out of his previous contract, Harrison Barnes re-signed with the Kings for $85 million over 4 years. It's a great pickup for them. Can play the 3 and can play the 4. He's definitely going to be alongside them for the future, along with De'Aaron Fox and Bagley and even Buddy Hield. Great young team looking to push into the playoffs. Brook Lopez, as we said earlier, teaming up with his brother. He's staying with the Bucks. Obviously his brother's joining him. He signed a 4-year $52 million deal for the Bucks. That's really good for them. He definitely could have made more than that in the open market, so that's great that they were able to re-sign him. Bojan Bogdanovic signed a 4-year $73 million deal with the Jazz. He was another player who had a lot of interest from competitive teams such as Indiana, obviously looking to re-sign him, and the Lakers were putting a big push in for him if they didn't get Kawhi, which obviously now they're all in for Kawhi, but being able to sign a $73 million deal for him, that's big for him, and it makes the Jazz a really big competitor in the West, especially when they've got Conley, and I think they're able to get rid of Favors as well, so that's big for them. Malcolm Brogdon, actually kind of shocking the most of us, signing a 4-year $85 million deal with the Pacers. Not that he wasn't worth the money, because he is, it's just that it was with the Pacers. But him being on that team, once Oladipo's back and healthy, that is probably the best defensive backcourt in the league. Now we're getting into our top 12 free agents. These would be your stars, these are your max players. The first one, I wouldn't call a max player, but I mean the Magic are pretty desperate, so yeah. The first one being Nikola Vucevic signing a 4-year $100 million deal with the Magic. Not sure about that one from the Magic. They've already got a lot of bigs. Obviously he's the most talented. He's definitely the best one that they've got, but for $100 million, he's not worth that. And if you ask any Magic fan, they know he's not worth that, so obviously they're just fighting to bring back talent, since if they don't have him, who do they have? D'Angelo Russell shocked us all when we all thought he was probably going to either Minnesota, the Lakers, or maybe a team that needed a point guard, such as the Magic, as we talked about, or the Phoenix. But somehow, the Warriors have been able to do a sign and trade with the Nets, where they're able to get D'Angelo Russell to pretty much replace Clay while he's injured. They traded off Iggy for pretty much nothing, a whole heap of picks alongside it as well, so obviously it was just to create enough space. But now they have a backcourt of Steph Curry, D'Angelo Russell, and when he's back and healthy, Klay Thompson. However, this deal does affect their salary cap, is because of them signing and bringing in D'Angelo Russell, they've almost reached the hard cap, meaning they have to fill out the rest of their roster around the 4 starters that they currently have. They have to sign everyone else for about $1.6 million each, meaning they just have a whole heap of minimum guys. And my boy, Kemba Walker, decided to sign a 4-year deal with the Celtics for $141 million. I don't blame him. The offer that Charlotte gave him is just... is embarrassing as a Charlotte fan. I don't know if it's properly leaked out, but from what we understand, Charlotte MJ offered Kemba Walker, the All-NBA point guard, 5 years, $175 million. What is that? He's eligible for $220 million, and that's what you offer him. Al Horford pulled off a big move, leaving the Celtics to sign with their rivals, the 76ers, on a 4-year, $97 million deal. That's an insane front court for the Sixers now, able to slide Al Horford down to power forward and have Embiid at the center. Embiid no longer has to worry about Horford guarding him. That's my pick to win the East now. Kristaps Porzingis, as we expected, re-signing with the Mavs on a 5-year, $158 million deal. If he comes back healthy and as he played before, that's a really good deal for them. Chris Middleton, as we expected, re-signing with the Bucks for 5 years, $178 million. Do I think he's worth that? No. But can the Bucks afford to lose him? Also no. So of course they're going to offer him that much. Another player in a similar situation, Tobias Harris, signed a 5-year, $180 million deal with the 76ers. I think it's pretty obvious that he only signed that, or he was only offered that because they gave up so much to get him and they couldn't afford to just watch him leave in free agency. Jimmy Butler initially signed that sign and trade that we thought he was going to. We initially thought it was going to be with Houston, but in the last couple of days the Heat emerged as potential traders, and that's exactly what happened. As the Heat traded Josh Richardson for Jimmy Butler, that's an amazing trade for both teams there, helps both of them out, salary cap wise. Now we're getting into the most important signings of this free agency so far. We'll do this as a combo. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving both decided to sign with the Nets, and pretty much just confirmed what we thought all year, except it wasn't with the Knicks as we all thought. It was with the Nets, as Kevin Durant signed a 4-year, $164 million deal, and Kyrie Irving signed a 4-year, $141 million deal, both electing to take less than the max, and that was so that they were able to sign DeAndre, who we recently talked about, and also gave him a little bit of flexibility to sign other people like Garrett Temple. And then finally, as we all expected, Klay Thompson pretty much talked it into existence and he got his 5-year, $190 million max contract with the Warriors. Alright, thank you guys very much for watching. This is just a quick update of what's gone down today. Some really big moves, especially with the Nets getting KD and Kyrie. If you want to keep up to date with all the free agency signings, definitely subscribe to me. I'll be doing a recap at the end of the day for the next few days about all the signings. I won't just cover the obvious ones like KD and Kyrie signing. I'll also talk about the smaller ones like Charlotte signing Terry Rozier that I talked about. Not happy about that. Don't comment anything about it. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Definitely subscribe, and I'm out. Peace.
Hey Panini, don't you be a meanie. Thought you wanted me to go, or why you tryna keep me teeny? It's a dreamy, wished it on a genie. I got fans finally, and you wanting them to see me.